All right, so what we'll be doing is simply importing. The first thing is math. Import math. Okay, so we have imported math. Now what we're going to do is just create a function which we'll call jump search, because that's what exactly the algorithm is, jump search. Okay, so inside the jump search we'll have the array and the target, and then what we're going to do is just get the length of the array as always, and then step 2 is create a variable calling it step, and inside of that step variable we'll be say int of math dot square root of n. So we'll just get the square root of the length of the variable, and then we'll create one more variable which will be called previous. So let's just call it prev and give it the value 0. Then we will create a while loop which will say until the previous greater than n, and the array of the minimum step comma 1 minus 1 will be the logic that will be applied, is smaller than the target. Run this loop, and inside of this loop what we'll do is previous, the value assigned to the previous will be the value of the step. That's it. And as it is applied, the value of step will be incremented. All right, so once it is assigned to the previous, the value of the step will be incremented, and how much it will be incremented is int of math dot square root of n. And then we'll again check. So let's just write this, so it might not be in sync. All right, so once it is done, we'll check whether the previous value is greater than n or not. If it is, then return -1. If it's not, then do nothing. So we'll create one more loop. So basically it will go, after completing this, it will go on to next loop. So once we are done with completing the entire loop, we'll move on to the next loop, and next loop will check whether the minimum value is greater than the previous one or not. So minimum will be step comma n as length of the array, right? Okay, so inside of this we'll first see whether the array of the previous element is equal to target or not. If it is, then return the previous. If it's not, then increment it by 1 and check again, and do this continuously. All right, say so this is equal to 1, and then once it is done, once complete both loops executions is completed, return -1. That's it, simple as that. It's not too damn complicated. It might sound a little bit more complicated if you are not from like the maths background as I am, but I had to, like, I developed this. I studied maths like so fucking crazily that I can actually build up all the logics that I can write on my notebook, right? So it's pretty damn simple once you understand basic level mathematics, not basic level mathematics, but like algorithm mathematics. Once you understand those concepts, you can actually do this pretty really well. Even if you don't, you can also do this once you get like the practice of it. All right. So let's just say inside of the index, we'll save this particular thing, and it will return a very boolean value. It will return a very boolean value. So whether, so as we have said, like it will return -1. So if it does not return -1, if it does not return -1, that means it returns 1. And if it returns 1, that means, no, if it does not return -1, then it means it returns something, right? It returns something. So what does it return? That's what we're gonna be printing, right? Then in else, if it returns -1, then boom, there is nothing that we found there. Okay, perfect. Let's just run this program and see how does that work. Right, Python 13 py, and you can see on the first index the number 2 is up there. So the first index is obviously 0, and then no, 0 is 1 and 1 is 2. So here we got our output successfully. So see you in the next video with some new fun shit. Till then, keep watching Code with Okay.